What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Pulse Metrics channel, and today we're going to be doing basically the same thing I did last video, but with the AFC teams. So today we're going to be ranking AFC divisions by position. We did this last video, so you guys already know the drill. As always, quick disclaimer, if you disagree with anything that I say, please let me know down in the comments what you would change, what you would disagree with, and I just might end up responding to those comments, so make sure to stay around for that. Without further ado, let's get right into the video. Cue that intro. Alright, here we are at the tier list, and we're just going to be doing this exactly how we did last time. These aren't actually the rankings, but we're going to start with the AFC West. And for the quarterbacks, we're going to go Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Gardner Minshew, and then we're going to do Bo Nix. Listen, mainly because, Gardner Minshew's proven himself to be something. 15 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, brought the Colts to a winning record alongside Shane Steichen. He could be something. And if I were Gardner Minshew, I would be excited to work with Devontae Adams and Jacoby Myers. And then, obviously, leading the quarterback division for this one, it's not even close. As long as Patrick Mahomes is here, it will always be Patrick Mahomes. Alright, now we have the running backs. Oh, this is disgusting. We're going to go Isaiah Pacheco. We're going to go Gus Edwards. He was actually very underrated last year. He had 13 touchdowns, but, he didn't get a lot of yards only because they had Lamar Jackson. Then we're going to do Javonte Williams, and then anyone's better than Alexander Madison, a.k.a. Zamir White. And when it comes to running backs, when it comes to Isaiah Pacheco, he's never going to get that many carries and that many yards when you're on a team with Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. They already have a passing game, and then just adding a running back like Isaiah Pacheco is just going to make this team unstoppable. And next up we have the tight ends. It's really not even close. We're going to go Kelce. We're going to go Michael Mayer, a.k.a. Brock Bowers. Then we're going to go Will Dissly. And then we're going to go Dodgeman, I think, is their tight end. They lost their tight end a couple years ago. They haven't had a significant one. I think they actually should have drafted Brock Bowers. Right, next up, we have the O-line. We're going to go Chiefs because I like Creed Humphrey, Joe Thuney, and then Jawan Taylor and everyone they got going there. Then we're going to go Chargers. They actually had a pretty underrated O-line last year. Then you could really flip a coin for either of these ones. But then we're going to go Raiders, and then we're going to go Broncos because both of these O-lines are terrible. The Broncos just let Russell Wilson get sacked a lot last year. In fact, in 2022, he got sacked over 50 times. Fun fact. Alright, next up we have our defense, and we're going to go Chiefs. You're starting to see a pattern with Chiefs winning every category except the wide receivers because they just basically run this division. Then we're going to go Raiders. I like their defense. I like it being led by Max Crosby. And then we're going to go Broncos because I like Patrick Surtain. I like what he's doing there. And then we're going to go Chargers because their O-line's just aging. Joey Bosa, Asante Samuel Jr., they're aging now. Alright, next up we have the kicker. We're going to go Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders, and Broncos. And there's not really much of an argument right there. And finally, now we have the head coach. We're going to go Andy Reid, Sean Payton. Sean Payton is a very underrated head coach. Obviously, he won a Super Bowl with Drew Brees. Then we're going to go Jim Harbaugh and then Antonio Pierce. We don't know if these guys are going to be good. We obviously a very successful college coach with Jim Harbaugh winning a Heisman trophy with Michigan. Antonio Pierce hasn't done much, but I heard he's a decent coordinator. We don't know that for sure, but of course Andy Reid's the best coach of the entire league. He's been that way for quite some time now. Obviously won 3 Super Bowls with the Chiefs, and how could you argue with this whatsoever? Alright, now moving on, we're going to do the AFC East. And to start off with the quarterbacks, we're going to go Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, Tua Tagovailoa, and then we're going to go New England. I mean, it really comes down to who's it going to be between Jacoby Brissett and Drake May. I'm assuming it's going to be Drake May because they're not going to start a quarterback that's over 30 years old. You could really flip a coin for number two. I mean, Tua does have receivers, but Aaron Rodgers is just a way better passer. And then there's Josh Allen, who's just Josh Allen because he does Josh Allen things. I don't think Josh Allen is going to be afraid to make a play, though. He lost a lot of receivers. Obviously, you got Stephon Diggs going to Houston, and then Gabe Davis going to Jaguars in free agency. But I still think that Josh Allen will be a decent quarterback this year. I think he'll find a way to make those receivers work. We don't know if Keon Coleman is going to be good or not, so that's my only concern. But those are my rankings for the quarterbacks. All right, now for the running backs. We're going to go Breece Hall, then we're going to go the duo of Raheem Mostert and Devon Achane because I absolutely love that duo. Then we're going to go James Cook, and then, respectfully, Rodmondre. There's not really a bad running back in this division. It's just that, Rodmondre Stevenson was injured a lot last year, and James Cook had more fumbles than touchdowns, mainly because you had Josh Allen rushing for all of those touchdowns. Obviously, Raheem Mostert was one of the top-scoring fantasy running backs last year, having 18 touchdowns. And again, Devon Achane, being injured, all that stuff. And then obviously Breece Hall, who had a breakout year and can catch the ball very well, and he's my eyes, he's gonna be the number 2 ranked scoring running back. If you saw my last video, I'll post the link in the description. All right, now we're gonna go to receivers. We have Miami by a long shot. Then we're gonna go Garrett Wilson and Mike Williams. I like the little duo that they're going there. Then we're gonna go Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir, Curtis Samuel, maybe Jace Claypool could be starting. I'm not sure. And then obviously we have receivers with Demario Douglas and then and company. All right, and now we have the tight ends. We're gonna go Dalton Kincaid because I think he's got a bright future, and especially he has a really good quarterback. Then we're gonna go Hunter Henry. He had a very underrated season last year, especially alternating between Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi. Then we're going to go Jonnu Smith and then Tyler Conklin. There's not a really bad tight end. All of these guys have potential, but I think Dalton Kincaid and Hunter Henry, you could flip a coin between those two because no one's ever going to deny that those two are the best tight ends in this entire division. So, there are my tight end rankings. Alright, and next up we have O-line. We're going to go Jets because I really like what they did this offseason, drafting Olamide Fashanu and then obviously signing Tyron Smith from the Cowboys. Then we're going to go not Dalton Kincaid. We're going to go the Bills, Dolphins, and then Patriots. And I don't think a lot of people can argue with that. Alright, now next up we have defense. We're going to go Jets by a long shot. Then we're going to go Patriots because they actually had a very, very, very underrated defense last year for as bad of a team as they were. Then we're going to go Dolphins because they actually had some of the most picks in football. And some of the most sacks because you had the insane defensive tackle duo between Zach Sealer and Christian Wilkins. And then we're going to go Buffalo. No disrespect to them, but they lost a lot of key players. They lost Micah Hyde. They lost Tre'Davious White. And all of those really cool guys. All right, next up we have kicker. We're going to go Dolphins, Jets, and then we're going to go Patriots, and then we're going to go Bills, a.k.a. he who must not be named. All right, next up we have head coach. We're going to go Sean McDermott. We're going to go Mr. Beat up on bad teams and then get crapped on in the playoffs, Mike McDaniel. Then we're going to go Robert Saleh, and then we're going to go Gerard Mayo because, again, we don't know if Gerard Mayo is going to be good. I heard he's going to be decent, but I'll have to see for myself. As for Robert Saleh, he's I mean, he's really have nothing to work with quarterback-wise, but they're finally going to get Aaron Rodgers, so he's going to have some success. And then, obviously, Sean McDermott, who's won the division 4 years in a row. How could you not put him at number 1? Oh, I cannot wait for this division. Now we're going to go to the AFC North. And for quarterbacks, there's not a bad quarterback in this list whatsoever. But we're going to go Lamar, Joey B, Russell Wilson, and then Bill Cosby, a.k.a. Deshaun Watson. Look, you could make the argument for Joe Burrow being ahead of Lamar. It's just that we don't know if Joe Burrow is going to be able to stay healthy or not. Plus, Lamar Jackson is going to, I feel like, is going to have a lot more success in the regular season because they just got Derrick Henry. So, if you thought that their running game was good with Gus Edwards and Justice Hill, just imagine what it's going to be like with Derrick frickin' Henry. Speaking of which, we're going to go with the running backs. We're going to go Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb. If it wasn't for injury, he would have gotten the Offensive Player of the Year. Then we're going to go Najee Harris. And then we're going to go Zach Moss, a.k.a. Chase Brown. I mean, Zach Moss, I think this is going to be his breakout year because last year, but now this time, he's not going to be sitting behind Jonathan Taylor. He's going to actually have the starting job. And since they got a lot of offensive line help, especially with drafting Amarius Mims, then he should be able to do something this year, and especially when that should especially be good for Joe Burrow since he won't get as sacked and he won't get as injured much. All right, next we have wide receivers. This is really going to be like the only kind of mid category, but we're gonna go Jamar Chase and T. Higgins by a long shot. Then we're gonna go Amari Cooper and Jerry Jeudy. I like that duo. I'm not gonna lie. Obviously, Amari Cooper passing 1,000 yards last season, alternating between a lot of quarterbacks. Deshaun Watson, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Joe Flacco. Yeah, Amari Cooper really lit it up. Then we're gonna go. You know what? I like Rashad Bateman and Zay Flowers, and they even have Mark Andrews. So they're gonna have a passing game, and then we're gonna go Deontay Johnson and company because I don't really think they have a lot besides Deontay Johnson. I'm sorry, not Deontay Johnson, George Pickens. But that's my bad. So cut that out. All right, next up we have the tight end, and this is a really tough decision, but I am gonna have to go with Mark Andrews, David Njoku, Pat Freiermuth, and then Mike Gesicki. Again, like from Pat Freiermuth and Mark Andrews, we're just gonna have to see him have a healthy season. And David Njoku was absolutely tremendous last year. He was probably the most athletic tight end I have ever seen, in my opinion. Alright, next up we have O-line. We're going to go Browns by a long shot. Then we're going to go Ravens. And probably going to go Bengals and then Steelers. You could flip a coin for this one. But honestly, I think that the Steelers and Bengals are going to have way better O-line since they really went heavy on it in the draft. And that should be a big problem for everybody. However, the Browns with just Yoel Bitonio and obviously, the Ravens having Tyler Linderbaum and aging Ronnie Stanley, I will admit, but still a very dominant offensive line in my opinion. And we can't act like we can't give some of the credit to the O-line for being the number one rushing offense in the entire NFL. Like, come on. And next up, this is probably going to be the hardest, but we have the defense. We're gonna go Steelers, Browns, Ravens, only because I think the Ravens lost a lot of key parts to their defense, like Geno Stone, Jadeveon Clowney. They lost Patrick Queen, and they even lost the coordinator to do it. And then obviously, coming in last, we have the Bengals. Even though I don't think that they have a bad defense. Obviously, they got Geno Stone. Trey Hendrickson having 17.5 sacks last year. I think that could definitely be something. But just the Steelers and Browns, with Myles Garrett and T.J. Watt, in my opinion, the two best defensive players in the entire league currently right now. All right, next up we have the kicker. We're going to go Ravens, Browns, Bengals, Steelers, I like, obviously, you got the best in the league, Justin Tucker. Then you have Dustin Hopkins, who I think will really be something. Evan McPherson, and then the Steelers kicker. I think that's been alternating for like a couple years now. All right, now we have head coaches, and I'm sorry, but there's not one bad head coach in here. But we're going to go John Harbaugh, Mike Tomlin, Zach Taylor, and then Kevin Stefanski. It's really a toss-up. Obviously, you have John Harbaugh, Mike Tomlin, who've been in the game before. You have, obviously, Zach Taylor and Kevin Stefanski, who won the Coach of the Year. I don't personally agree with that. I think it really should have gone to D'Amico Ryan, but it is what it is. I think these are all tremendous coaches and will have good careers going forward. And finally, wrapping this up, we have the AFC South. And now for quarterbacks, I think it's going to go C.J. Stroud, Trevor Lawrence, Anthony Richardson, and then Will Levis. When we saw flashes of Anthony Richardson, he was really tremendous last year. We just actually have to, see him play in order for me to determine if he's going to be good. Same with Will Levis. He didn't play a full season, but he didn't really show anything too good. But now that they got a good offseason, if he doesn't succeed this year, I don't know if he's the guy or not. All right, and now we have the running backs. There's not one bad running back in this division, but we're going to go Jonathan Taylor, Travis Etienne, Joe Mixon, and then Tony Pollard, a.k.a. Tajay Spears. And, and Travis Etienne, obviously having 11 touchdowns last year, is very, very underrated, past 1,000 yards. Jonathan Taylor, he just got to stop getting injured. And then when he is healthy, obviously he's the league rushing leader like he was in 2021 when he had a full season. All right, next up we have the receivers. We're going to go Houston by a long shot. Then we're going to go Titans because I like the duo of DeAndre Hopkins and Calvin Ridley. And then we're going to go Jaguars because I like Brian Thomas, Gabe Davis, Christian Kirk. That's a nice little trio. And then we're going to go Colts because I like Michael Pittman and Alec Pierce, but that's basically it. However, I don't think those two are bad at all. Obviously, they signed Michael Pittman to that huge extension, and I think it was worth it. They finally got a weapon in Colts, and I think if Michael Pittman turns out, I think Anthony Richardson can have a run game and a passing game, and therefore they're going to be very, very, very dangerous. All right, next up we have the tight ends. We're going to go Evan Ingram because he had over 100 receptions last year. We're going to go Dalton Schultz, and then I'm not even going to pronounce his last name because I can't. And then we're going to go, I'm assuming it's going to be Mo Alley Cox, but they really needed and if the Raiders haven't had taken Brock Bowers, I'm sure that Brock Bowers would have gone to the Colts, in my personal opinion, because the Brock Bowers didn't need to go to the Raiders because they already drafted Michael Mayer last year. And then the Colts really need, obviously, I'm impressed with the guy that they drafted in the first round, but they also really need another weapon / tight end. All right, next up we have the O-line. We're going to go Texans, because I really like their O-line. We're going to go Colts, and then we're going to go Titans, which I really think that their O-line is going to be better this year, obviously drafting J.C. Latham. And then Texans O-line because, it hasn't really been that significant in a couple years now, and I really think they should have drafted a lot more offensive line help, although I do think Brian Thomas was a good decision, but you obviously need someone protecting your quarterback. All right, next up we have the defense. This is very tough, but we're going to have to go with Houston because I absolutely love the addition of Danielle Hunter. Him and Will Anderson on the sides are going to be absolutely unstoppable. And we're going to go Colts because I like the draft picks that they made. Obviously, Liatula too. And then DeForest Bunker, that is good. They really improved their line. I really like Julian Blackmon. Then we're going to have to go with the Titans because obviously they signed L'Jarius Sneed And I like their defensive line that's led by Jeffrey Simmons. And then we're going to go Jaguars. I don't think they have a bad defense at all. Obviously, they have guys who can tackle, with I'm not going to pronounce his last name, but they had a linebacker who had over 100 tackles last year, and it was top 5. And obviously, you got Josh Allen, who had 17 sacks. All right, and next up we have the kicker. It's really a toss-up, but we're going to go Jaguars, Houston, Titans, and then Colts, and there shouldn't be any argument there. And now we got the head coach. Oh, I'm gonna go with DeMeco Ryans, Shane Steichen, Doug Peterson, and then Brian Callahan. Obviously, again, we don't know if Brian Callahan's going to be good or not. Doug Peterson hasn't had a really decent season in a couple years. And then Shane Steichen really led this Colts team to a winning record. And obviously, DeMeco Ryans, who I feel like should have gotten the Coach of the Year. Well, guys, that is going to do it for my AFC division rankings. I hope you really enjoyed this video, and if you did, please make sure to show your support. By the way, guys, thank you for 460 subscribers. We're only 40 more away for 500. I'm sure we can make it, guys. Trying to get monetized very, very, very soon. So, without further ado, I'll see y'all guys next time I upload. Peace.